differently than most people. Like, unlike my dad, I like to let things happen as they happen and just go with the flow.
Sometimes we'll look at each other and we'll just say, it's an Indigo thing.
I think so fast and go so fast they can't. They go from point A to B to C. I go from A to C.
He'll jump from in a conversation from one point of it to a far end of it and
then
leave
you don't
out,
understand what's going on.
leave out the whole middle part, and then look at you like, what? And you're like, I have no idea what you just told me.
And I like assume that they know what I'm about to say.
You started here and I was following you, and then you just got to the end of this and you left out the middle, man. I have no clue. Back up. And he's like, don't you get it? And that's where the frustration starts coming in. He's like, I'm like, I don't get it, dude.
He does not like repeating things. He doesn't like going back upstairs when he's come down and he has to go back up. Like, he doesn't like to retrace his steps or do things over again.
He's trying to optimize, there's the right word, his processes, whatever they are. He really is working hard. And sometimes, again, we're both, Taurians. We have the same birthday. We're really, really just all about grounded from step A to step B.
And he is air sign.
And he's a very floaty air sign, and that's sometimes hard for us. But I just keep telling him, and we keep telling each other, he's here to teach us as much as we're here to teach him.
We always felt that Tanner, like, even when he was born, he looked like an old man, like, he just had an old man look. And actually him and a lot of his friends from preschool all have these big eyes, that really, like, tell a story and very deep eyes.
But a lot of what we're teaching him, our hope is to make him at least understand what most people do and believe and feel here now. So it helps him interact with the rest of the Earthlings, because sometimes he has a problem seeing what the rest of us see, and I go, when it's a majority of people are seeing it the way we're seeing it, it's just going to help you to understand that it's going to help you work with people sometimes, because they don't get when you go from A to F and leave out everything in between.
There's positive and negative energies all around you. If you see someone that's having a bad day or something, maybe most of the time people are like trying to help them, but some people absorb that negative energy and feel like they're having a bad day, then they project it on other people, and then the cycle just starts and keeps going.
He's very sensitive. He's also sensitive to colors, dyes and colors, and he'd eat like Laffy Taffy and he'd be home from school the next day because he couldn't handle the red dye, or like red velvet cake.
That's when he was little. It's probably not as bad
Yeah,
anymore.
now he's
I think he can
okay.
kind of get away with it, but it would take him out for the entire day. A lot of what he does is based on his own internal knowledge. He came with a really good set of hardwiring, so we're very lucky. The books have been just a great guide for us to get because we're wired the same and very different than him.
The one thing I do want to say that we do, we took him to like a educational counselor in like 3rd grade because of this slowing down thing, and his math scores were off the charts and his English was way down. And she introduced us to something called Simona CDs, and every morning for half an hour before he wakes up, he gets classical music or birds chirping or something for half an hour, and it literally just wakes him up slowly, and he's had amazing grades, and it just keeps him like focused and calm, and it's been amazing, right?
Oh yeah, and it's quite the commitment, and he asks for it.
Before we started using those CDs, he was young, so they said draw a picture of a house, so it was like a piece of paper. The house was floating like this. The bottom of the house was like this far above the bottom of the page. I think I even still have it. And then he went through her whole program and through listening to the CDs, and he drew the house, and it was on the bottom of the page.
It grounded him.
It grounded him.
It would have been great if it was more of a universally accepted concept, so there would have been more
out there.
More mainstream channels to go to. A soul that's probably been here before, that's come back this time to really make some changes, to really help raise the ocean for everybody. And that there are people who may be misunderstood, but they have a mission. I think the Indigos come with a purpose, and they come and surround themselves with people who are going to help them, whatever that is, be it protection or growth or learning, but they have a goal to achieve. There's definitely been conversations, about how he chose us.
He was like watching like a TV, and they would just show different people on the screen, and he just like saw us and picked us. He also occasionally talks about life or life after death, what comes next and stuff like that.
I've shared with some friends of mine is there's things you can learn from that kid. There's a reason he chose you as a mother, as a father, and that you can get something from paying attention and listening and learning.
Sometimes Indigo children, we think we hear something, and then we talk to our parents about it, but then they say that they didn't say anything, but that they said that's what they were thinking. So it's almost like some psychic thing.
He thinks something and swears he said it. I'm like,
That's my
you
favorite.
didn't open your mouth. But no.
No, I was looking
You
at you the
didn't open
entire
your
time.
mouth.
He communicated telepathically, but I didn't receive it. I didn't receive the message. But he'd swear he said it, and I go, dude, your mouth didn't move, man. And sometimes I'll hear him when he says something without opening his mouth. Sometimes we communicate telepathically. Sometimes there's no question that he says something and I respond. Then no mouths move. I know it happens, but there are times where the message doesn't make it.
It usually only happens with my parents. I don't know why. Maybe I just have the strongest connection with them. I can really feel what they're feeling or know what they're doing and what they're gonna do. It's just really silent and I just hear them say something, but then I talk to them about it and they say they didn't say anything.
Sometimes over communicating with your indigo or rainbow child, because they hear you even if they don't acknowledge it. Sometimes they acknowledge it maybe telepathically. You may get the message, you may not get the message, but just keep communicating.
I like school, but there's some teachers that I just disagree with the way they teach. I like going to school for most of it is the social part, with friends and hanging out, in class, talking and having fun. But I also like learning, but there's some parts of school that are just boring. I like science, and I know that I should be learning science because I want to do something with science when I'm older. But English and history, I mean, it's good to know all that stuff, but what am I going to really use that for?
The educational system as a whole is a box for kids, and all kids don't learn the same, and all kids don't perform the same. They don't all respond to the same stimuli. So I think the general education system is very rigid, and I think these kids are definitely outside of the box.
They teach something, they give a quiz, especially in math, and a lot of kids don't understand it. That's basically a signal to the teachers saying, you failed, you need to do it again, and you didn't teach this subject correctly. And teachers just move on and don't care. I think that they should redo that until the students understand it.
They need to work with their hands more. They need to experience things more. We know a few people that have done homeschool, and part of that is because they want them to go to museums and they want them to have hands-on at dad's work who's in the music industry, or they want to give them life experiences, not just reading out of a book.
In science, I think there should be a lot more labs and experiments, because all we're doing in science right now is some experiments, some not fun labs, they're really long.
Part of what's important for, I think, them, though, is the social grounding they do get from traditional schooling. I think it's important for them. I mean, a lot of their focus is growing and changing the world and making it a better place, but to be able to change anything, to make anything better, you need to be able to communicate with people. They're here, I think, to fight the system, and so when the system
busters.
Yeah, they're so rigid, the system's so rigid, it makes it really hard for them to be them.
Warriors, they call them warriors, right? They're here to blaze the new path, right? And then you have the crystal children that are coming along and they're picking up the rocks and they're petting the animals and they're talking to the animals, and they're paving the way for those crystal children that came after.
The main thing when I get older, I want to be a professional baseball player, but I know if I keep working, it will come easy to me and I'll get it, and so just taking small steps to accomplish your goal.
Well, we've taught him very clearly about setting a goal and then how to create a path to that goal. So if you know where you're trying to go, then you can make a map to get there.
I'd like every child to know that you can do anything that you want in life if you try your hardest and do the best you can.
Or I see his friends, a lot of them, I don't think their parents are always as engaged. So kids learn.
And they're off playing video games for 5 hours on the weekend.
Yeah, because the parents aren't engaged.
We're just not doing that. We actually listen. It's not like just go to your room, but we explain why we're making our decision. We took him out to dinner, we had an intervention. He was playing too many video games on his phone, and we told him we were going to take the games off. And we went to a public place because he couldn't have a tantrum.
Meltdown.
Yeah, like literally we were at an Italian restaurant. And he's like, well, I don't like it, but I understand.
He can learn from us and we can learn from him, as opposed to just that standard paradigm of we're the adults, we know best, and you're only going to learn from us. So
They're here to teach us as much as we are them. And I think parents like to grab hold and really control everything, and I think there's things that adults can learn from children, which is really more of a new generational type thing, because like our parents, they didn't think they could learn from their kids. No way.
we're teaching you the
Yeah.
rules of Earth at this point. He's got bigger things to teach.
I've learned it throughout my life, but mainly that's come from sport. The main thing that they want you to get out of it is to have fun, and also to, especially like in football, if you get hit down, get back up. If you give up a run in baseball, get back up. If you get dunked on, get back up and keep playing. Just never give up and always keep playing, and good things will turn out. Even if you don't win that game, good things will happen to you.